In the video that I have as part one of this series of dogtail in my face of living with a covert narcissist. And if you haven't seen it, it's important that you, Milo, please get still. It's important that you understand that I only just now found out that that was the dynamic in this relationship. I had never even heard of love bombing and had never heard of the term covert narcissist, but because of the damage that's been done to my psyche after 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, it's been a few years of being with this person, I'm broken. I'm damaged deeply. And trying to go back and look at the beginning of this and the history of it. And it's just shocking to me that I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know it was this. So anyway, I talked about the fact that in the beginning there was love bombing when an overt narcissist can be overwhelming, but a covert narcissist, it almost just feels like that relationship you've always wanted. When they really are there for you and always there, and you talk a lot and you're constantly with each other, and it feels, it's not really a red flag waiver situation in that. But then as time goes by, I mentioned that he would agree to watch a movie that I wanted to watch, but then would just get up and walk off in the middle of it and leave me sitting there with it. Didn't even want to put the effort into understanding what the movie was about, and then would get annoyed when I tried to help with that. And, and then it went to where he just wouldn't watch anything with me unless it was what he wanted to watch. And conversations, I mean, he wouldn't even read the writing. I would write and he wouldn't even read the stuff that I wrote. And, in the beginning, he was a business partner with me in a startup publishing house. And now he's to the point that he won't even read what I write, short stories or anything like that. He's just completely not interested in anything that comes from my heart or my life. Lack of interest. And so this is where the red flags start to come up. And then there's the conversations where he demands my full attention, no matter what time of day, no matter what I'm doing. I've got to drop everything and focus on him, what he's saying, but he won't even listen to me long enough to be able to regurgitate back the things that I said to him. And then will accuse me of never telling him those things. And as these things start to happen over time, then I'm noticing that something is wrong. And it turns from that into, a situation of emotional coldness where he's completely shut down and I'm not getting the feedback that I need from the relationship. And from there, it goes to just complete emotional neglect, where I could be sitting bawling my eyes out about something and he would just look at me like I was annoying him. And so, that was the progression of my situation. So I'm doing this series of videos in case you find yourself in a similar situation and experiencing this kind of coldness and this kind of slow progression of, it's like you're watching, you're losing a person right in front of your eyes. But what it is they're just no longer able to keep up the love bombing that they were doing in the beginning. And now you're getting down to, well, this is who you really got, is someone who's just so focused on themselves and the thoughts inside their own head that they don't have time for you. They don't have time for even a spare thought for your concern or your feelings. And as the relationship progressed on toward the end, even another level happened in which once he realized that he could use this emotional neglect and emotional coldness to hurt me deliberately or to control me or to manipulate me, it was a power thing with him. And I only started calling him out on that right at the very end of everything. It was some way that he felt that he had power over me to just be emotionally dismissive to me. And his what was going on inside his head was so much more important than I could ever be. And I couldn't even interfere in that space. I couldn't even, if he had something to say to me, boy, I had to drop everything and listen. But no matter what I had to say to him, it just wasn't important enough to interrupt those flow of thoughts that were going through that mind. So I'm going to wrap up this part of the video But kind of lead into the next one, into part 3, I'm going to talk about when the gaslighting starts. And how one thing that a covert narcissist will do is they will gaslight you in subtle ways, a lot of passive aggressive stuff, yet they will do it to the point that you do start acting crazy. Because their behavior's not, you don't get the normal response from them that you get when communicating and interacting with another person. And so you get frustrated, and then you start getting a little more amped up. Are you going to pay attention to me and listen to me? This is important. And maybe it starts there, and then they turn around and make you feel like you're hysterical just because you're struggling to get their attention. So I'll get into that in the next one, and in part 3, I'm going to talk about that very thing some more.